Howdy everybody, and welcome back to the 30th of November, which is a beautiful Sunday, if you like snow. Now this is what I'm dealing with today. A little bit of fog, a little bit of snow, and a whole lot of cold temperatures and some wind that is running about 25-30 miles an hour, giving a wind chill that's really super cold outside. Yeah, so I'm going to stay inside today and get some stuff done. I was invited the other night over to a co-worker's house for dinner. Yeah, so I brought over the traditional little bottle of wine, etc., so forth, and we sat around, chatted for a bit. And I guess he and I were getting a little loud because his missus come out and asked if we could have a little peace and quiet in the kitchen because she was working on a souffle and didn't want to get all jittery and bump it and have it collapse. So my friend got up, got out the step stool, and took the battery out of the smoke alarm. I have a nice warm fire going in the fireplace. Yeah, heating up the house. Found out it actually has a blower and it blows hot air out down along the bottom there. Yeah, so it's heating up the house nicely. So what am I going to do today to keep me occupied? Well, this is what I'm going to do today. Let's see, we're going to call this one 3/8. Yeah, something kind of like that. Yeah. So what is it exactly that I'm doing today? Well, let me show you. What I'm working on is some labels that are a peel and stick that fit on the front of some tip-out bins. And there's two labels here for each little page. Of course, I'll do some 5/16 and 3/8. Well, no, I already did the 3/8, but yeah, some 5/16, ½ inch, 7/16, all that, up to an inch. And I'm not going to do just flat washers. I'm going to do lock washers, hex nuts in coarse and fine thread, square nuts, coarse and fine thread. So that's 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 6 rows, if you will, crosswise on some little tip-out bins. I should have brought the tip-out bins I had over at the farm with me, because I found out it cost me just over $408 for 16 of these little 6-bin tip-out tray deals, and I still have to fill them. And beforehand, when I was working at one of the big box stores in a major city near here, near Twin Falls, when I worked in the hardware department, we would just sweep the floors at the end of the day and dump all the sweepings into a bucket. Well, after the bucket was about half full, people that worked there could buy the bucket of nuts, bolts, washers, whatever, nails, bring them home. Well, I brought them home and I filled up pretty much all of those little bins doing that way. And I think I was paying like $5 for half a bucket full. So, yeah, and then I returned the bucket and use it over again. So, they never charged me for the bucket. This time, I'm going to have to not only buy $400 worth of those bins, but I'm going to have to buy all those nuts and washers to go in them. Yeah. I'll show you those little bins I'm talking about. Yeah. And another project I've got coming up is building a workbench out there. Now, some of you may have guessed what I've been talking about in the way of these little tip-out bins. Get these out of here. Had to buy 16 of these silly things to get enough of them to get the number of pieces that I wanted. There we go. Yeah, tip-out bins, 6 bins per deal, and I got 16 of these assemblies. And all of these, let's see here, these little tags that I've been making are going to go right on under here, under the handles, and ID what's in the bins. Now they do come with little perforated deals that you can fold and stuff in here, but I figure those are so damn small I can't see what I'm looking at. That's why I went with the bigger ones. And these just peel and stick. All they are is a name tag type of thing. And we'll put 1/4 inch lock washer right there. And I can see them at a quicker glance instead of having to stand there and read the thing. I can see what I'm looking for faster. Anyway, something kind of like that. Yeah. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to mount these yet. Over at the farm, I had them screwed to the wall of the shop next with all the hand tools and that sort of thing. Probably end up doing the same kind of thing. Don't know, though, exactly what I'm going to do. I may put a piece of plywood up the backside of that new workbench that I'm building and then screw these right directly to that plywood. Or I may attach them directly to a wall that's out there. We'll have to wait and see, but they'll probably be around the workbench somewhere. This is an assembly of the bins. These are all for lock washers in the various sizes and nuts and bolts and stuff that are used. Yeah, all the way up to 1 inch. And if you'll notice, there's only, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 used, and that leaves me the 12th one empty. I like to leave the 12th one open with nothing in it, and as I work through the shop and various projects that I'm on, then I've got an extra bin I can put stuff. For example, I've been working on a spark plug display of antique spark plugs. So one of those drawers will have all the little brass nuts and whatnot that attaches the spark plug wires or the straps or whatever your particular motor might have had to the top of the spark plug. Another one may be full of garden hose washers, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's why the 12th one is always empty. Well, this is only 2 rows of the tip out bins on each side, and they're going to be 2 sections wide and 6 high. Be slid together something like that, so you'll have more up above this, and I'm going to actually put a row of these for coarse thread and fine thread castle nuts down below it, and then up above it I'll have hex nuts and coarse and fine, and then I'll have square nuts, coarse and fine above that. So, or vice versa, somehow or another. We'll get it figured out depending on where I put it. So that leads me to the next project. I've snuck out of the house for a minute. The wind's kind of died down, but I got a lot of glare coming off the snow. This, if anybody knows what I'm looking at, this is the next thing up that we're going to talk about. And here's a picture of the bench that this makes right here. The 4x4 is supposed to fit right in here in this angled part, and then the 2x4s are supposed to butt up against it this way. So the only support they have to hold up anything are 2 bolts that are in about yay far from the end of the board. So we're going to do something a little bit different there. We're going to notch out the end of the 4x4 area here to let the 2x4 cradle in it. Then we'll bolt it. And I'm going to use something a little bit bigger than a 2x4. I may use a 2x6 going crosswise across the front. Because if you're like me, we've all about tripped or about lost our grip on it or something like that and have to toss something up on the edge of the shelf, the countertop, whatever you want to call it. And by golly, I'd like to have something a little bit stiffer right there than just a 2x4. So we may end up, if I have enough room, because these mounting holes are offset, I may put just a 2x6 in there and call it good. That'll give me a little extra strength though. Like I noticed a minute ago, or mentioned, the offset height on these holes is going to be a little bit of a problem for putting a 2x8 on this side, but I can still go ahead and put one over there. Just notch down the 4x4 to here, put a 2x8 in there, and then just get a longer bolt to go through the, well, I may not even need a longer bolt to go through the 2x8 and the 4x4. And where the 4x4 is going to be notched to accept and cradle the 2x8, I don't know that I'm going to need any longer bolts. So we'll have one bolt going through just the leg of the shelf on one, lower bolt on one side, and through the shelf leg and the shelf cross beam on the upper bolt. And we'll have to do that on whichever end we're working with here. Now I got this shelf kit with these green angle bracket deals off of eBay. They come with either 4 brackets or 8. I got the one with 8 so I could have a shelf down low plus the one up on top to work on. Mount stuff too and whatever. The one below will be a storage shelf. So I think that was running right around $70–80 for that kit. Comes with all the hardware, the nuts, the bolts, the washers, the 8 brackets, that sort of thing. Yeah, and then a lot of the lumber I've already got around here, so we're just using some scrap lumber, but I can't imagine that costing more than another $40–50 for that. And it's going to make a pretty heavy-duty workbench, which is something I definitely need in this new shop. Common sense is not a gift. It is a punishment. Because you have to put up with all those idiots that don't have any common sense. Yeah. We're not going to deal with any old iron today, but seeing how it's that time of year, we're going to put up some Christmas lights, and I'll show you a trick that I learned a while back that absolutely makes the tree glow at night instead of just seeing a bunch of colored light bulbs. Now what I'm going to be using today are a pair of 25 bulb strands, colored LED bulbs. I'm not a real fan of LED because I think a lot of them look more blue than they should, but that's what we're going to be using on this little tree today. As you might be able to see, I have tied a loose knot kind of an affair in that extension cord to get it to hang on to the tree limb so it doesn't get snagged and pulled. And yeah, I got it plugged in. Check to make sure the lights work. And yeah, they all seem to be working. So let's go ahead and get these strung in the little tree here. One other thing I'm going to do to help protect the outlet and the wiring and whatnot from being hit by the garbage can is I'm going to set a wood block right back here to help act as a spacer to keep the trash can from getting right up against that and banging into that cord. Now we're going to take advantage of this dead side of the tree to give you an idea of what I'm actually doing here. We're going to run the light strings up and down like most people traditionally do, or round and round, but I'm burying some of the lights inside the tree, back in where the branches and the trunk are. And the reason for that is it gives it a nice glow. So yeah, the whole tree glows. Instead of just seeing the little colored bulbs, the whole tree has color that emits like a frosted, foggy kind of colors out from the inside of the tree. One of the other things you want to do when you're putting lights on a tree is make sure you're plugging them in for end. Make sure you're not overloading that circuit. Like this particular set of these LED light bulbs, 14 feet, 25 bulbs for 14 feet. I can hook 91 of these together and not overload the fuses in the wiring. Yeah, stuff these in up here. There's the last of them. And we'll come out later tonight and see how this looks when it's darker and illuminated, just so you can see what it looks like. Yeah. Well, I can tell you what. The camera isn't doing it justice. It's picking up every single light bulb. Yeah, and it looks like there's a few holes, so I need to put in either maybe 1 or 2 more strands of light on there. Okay, well, I got a little bit of an update for you today. It's later in the week. I think it's the 3rd or the 4th of December. Anyway, I stopped by Bo Seeger Tractor, checked on the Super M. They were pulling the pan off right when I was there, and they were going to pull the head today and pull the guts out of the block just to see what was going on inside the engine. The front pedestal, steering pedestal, tower, the whole mess, the grill, the hood, everything's also off the front of the frame rails. I didn't get a real good look at it to see if they'd pulled both frame rails off of it or not that run from the bell housing up to the front steering pedestal assembly. But they got a list of parts they need for that, so that's going to get fixed, so there won't be any more of that shaky death wobble thing. And as soon as they get into that engine, they're going to find out what we need to order for the engine. I was told by Doug, the owner of the business, that the machine shop is 2 to 3 weeks out on getting anything new started, which all their projects they got right now seem like they're small ones. So they'll get to that, see what all we need to do there with that particular engine when they get it apart. They're also, if I remember right, going to pull they got to take the frame rails off because they got to pull the motor, and they're going to resurface the flywheel and check it, make sure we don't need a different one, and put a different clutch plate in it, put a new plate in it, and we may even change out the pressure plate if it's got weak springs in it or it's got wear cracks or heat cracks or whatever in it. So we'll keep you posted, and one of these days maybe I'll sneak over there and get some video of it, of what they're working on with it. So anyway, that's just an update there. And yeah, I went out and put 3 more strands of lights on that little bushy tree out front, that little Alberta spruce. So it's going to look a lot better tonight. And yeah, it does glow. The lights are down inside it, so it does glow from the inside out of the tree. And when you drive by it in the daylight, you can hardly see any of the bulbs at all, except on that one side where it's kind of dead. But yeah, it's looking pretty good at night. So anyway, I'm wishing you well and have a happy or Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, that sort of thing. If I don't see you between now and then, I should have another video out coming up. I did get in the battery cables for the Farmall H, so we'll be working on that and hopefully getting that finished up, knock on some wood. Plus, I'm working on constructing a heavy-duty workbench for out in the shop. So that'll be coming along in the next video or so as well, because I got to have a workbench to put stuff on to fix and repair. So I'm putting my vise on and that sort of thing, the drill press. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, I'm Farmer Dave, wishing you a good one. You all have a happy week at work while I'm home recovering. Yes, I'm still recovering from the double knee surgery. Anyway, catch up with you later. Bye-bye for now.